Hello guys, and welcome to this episode of Gas-o-Loon, where we are picking up the new 1290 Super Adventure R. Just being modified, GPS being installed, bags, everything on, and there will be a 1,000-kilometer service point, and we're aiming to ride it for at least that today. We're going from Sweden up to Norway, and hopefully we'll do some between 1,000 and 1,500 kilometers. There will be some additional modifications coming up. This will be exchanged for an open exhaust, probably from Remus or a Krapovic, we'll see. And of course we'll need a bash plate, since we take these big bikes off-road for real. We need a big aluminium bash plate here. Fuel dongle inside here, so you don't have to switch ABS modes all the time, will also be added, and maybe some other bling extras. We'll see. After like 1 hour of paying, getting all the luggage and space and everything, we are finally ready to move away towards Norway. Now we're crossing Västerdalälven, not too far away from the Norwegian border. After spending a long day in the wilderness of Sweden, it's always good to return to the hotel room, which is nice and clean, apart from the stench of sweaty clothing and old Daytona shoes. A shower and something to eat, and then back to sleep. After the first riding day, we have a little brief sum up to do. These are the bikes. They have been fantastic. We've been riding sort of power cruising along curvy northern Swedish roads at around 140-ish, slightly more maybe, and slightly less sometimes. And they've been fantastic, really. The name Super Adventure is a correct name. But always, like it is with KTM, fantastic product development, but product quality is not perfect. First little issue here on one of the bikes. Rear brake failure. You can see the braking fluid there leaking out. I hope we can fix it today. Otherwise we will have to do with the front brake only. Not ideal, especially not off-road. And apart from that, we had some problems with the opening the seat, right? Yeah. So the seat lock here stopped working on this bike too, but we fixed that, so it works now. Now we're still on the Swedish side. It's a fantastic road. We're approaching some higher mountain ranges here, crossing over to the Norwegian side. We have 450 kilometers on the bike so far. During the braking in period they need more than 1,000, and well, if it's 1,500, KTM said it's still okay. So that's what we're aiming for this weekend. Wow. Beautiful. This country is lovely. I hate to say it as a Swede, but Norway is fantastic. One very good aspect of motorcycling is all the animals you get to know. I just had this enormous wasp that landed on my visor, and now this, whatever it is, some sort of Norwegian bug. We're now at a Norwegian dealer called Motor Speed, and they are supposed to replace the rear brake cylinder of my friend's bike here. So after that we will be able to go at least on light off-road. We don't have the real tires for some real off-road, but still. Weather is fantastic here in Lillehammer. Couldn't be better actually. 22 degrees. Fantastic trip so far. The best break-in trip I have ever done. All of a sudden you hit a dirt road. We don't really have tires for this, but I mean, it still works. You can go, but you can feel that the front is very, doesn't have much grip. You can't lean it, and well, it makes it a bit more exciting. These tires are far from ideal, but you can still ride on some. The engine of the 1290, it's still being broken in, so I haven't given it maybe the last 2000 revs I tried to stay away from, but it feels very strong. Strong torque from the bottom end, and a nice top end as well. It's got more rotating mass than the 1190 engine, so it feels a bit more calmer in some respects. Still, it's stronger. Yeah, but all in all, it's a really truly great engine. So powerful. The suspension, we haven't been trying the suspension too much in the dirt yet, but on the pavement it works brilliantly. You can drive so fast with these bikes, even if these roads are have broken surfaces and large potholes and stuff. They still work really well. Apparently the stroke has got more progression now. So it's before on my 1190 Adventure, that used to bottom out easily if I had to ride through some whoops or anything that resembled whoops. They tell me that this one does not. We'll have to try that, obviously. The wind protection is better than on the 1190, at least for me. It's substantially better, and I would say it's almost ideal. Still get pretty clean air around my helmet, and seat is nice. It's infinitely more comfortable than the 701 Husqvarna bike, and also faster. I got so much more confidence with this on asphalt roads. Of course, you can. There's always strong braking power available, whereas that one really dived and also had one disc and didn't feel too strong. The traffic police in Norway, well, the punishments are really harsh for speeding, and the enforcement is pretty intense when you are riding on the larger roads. Norway, Norway. There are very few really large roads, but you know, the heavy traffic roads anyway, there you can find some police. I got caught a couple of times some years ago. But on the smaller roads in Norway, there are very few people around. You hardly meet any cars, and I haven't seen a police officer there yet, so it's a good place to ride, obviously. But when you're in built-up areas or close to other cars and people, take it really easy. There are also, of course, some risk factors like sheep close to the road. It's a pretty common sight. There are also, of course, wild animals, elks, deer that you might run into. So it might be a good idea to adjust your speed to that. Generally, the most dangerous hours are dawn and dusk, when the animals tend to move around a lot. Then after a while all the trees disappear and you enter the area which is too cold for trees to survive in the winter time. Here you have to worry a bit about sheep. They seem to be everywhere. Magnus is looking for trouts in the water. Hard to see from here. It's pretty useless for gravel roads, these tires, but they are really good for all other purposes. The Pirelli Scorpions. Apparently they have improved the dust protection on these 1290 models compared with the 1190. With new inlet trumpets and a new filter and new sealing and stuff. Hopefully the engine won't suck in dust anymore, which has ruined so many engines on the 1190s here in Scandinavia and as well as in Australia. Typically the markets where people use them for, well, the way they were intended to be used on gravel roads. Usual. As usual, we go for the tartan sleeping bag. In this case, Radisson Blue. From being one of the poorest countries in Western Europe after the war and through the 50s and 60s, Norway benefited greatly from the North Sea oil, of which they managed to negotiate a big part. and that has economically lifted this state up towards a great degree of affluence since then. So they are rich now. You can see that the houses are well maintained throughout the country, even in the countryside, and the road standard is well, it's very complex to build motorways and stuff like that in Norway, because it's got a lot of mountains, and at the same time it hasn't got too much people, so it's not very economical. The benefit of that is, of course, that all the curvy roads are still there. It's not necessarily a good thing if you want to go by car, because it takes ages to go from point A to point B, but when you're riding a motorcycle, it's a fantastic thing. Magnus here, he's got a new friend. There's a young cow on the road. One of the things you need to look out for. Oh, not gonna stress him more now. Young bull, actually. Well, and we're back on the Swedish side again. We have done 1,100 kilometers now, and it will be about 1,400 before we turn it into service. And Lingvalls, the dealer that we bought the bikes from, will do a service on a Sunday on these bikes, especially for us. Really good thing. Good dealer, Lingvalls. If you're in Sweden and want to buy a KTM, go to Lingvalls.